The INFJ personality type, often considered the rarest of the 16 Myers-Briggs types, is known for its deep empathy, intuition, and idealism. However, beneath their compassionate and outwardly calm exterior, INFJs often struggle with an internal world that is filled with self-doubt, overthinking, and emotional intensity. This internal dialogue can sometimes take the form of self-destructive thoughts that damage their well-being and relationships. In this article, we will explore 13 common self-destructive thoughts that INFJs experience. Understanding these thought patterns is the first step toward overcoming them. If you identify with any of these, don't worry, you're not alone, and there are ways to reframe these thoughts for a healthier, more balanced life. 1. I'm not good enough. One of the most common self-destructive thoughts that INFJs grapple with is the pervasive belief that they are not good enough. This feeling of inadequacy can manifest in almost every aspect of their lives, from personal relationships to career achievements, creative endeavors, and even everyday tasks. At the core, this thought stems from the INFJ's perfectionistic tendencies and the incredibly high standards they set for themselves. INFJs often strive for excellence in everything they do. This drive for perfection can be a strength, pushing them to achieve great things, but it can also become a burden when they constantly feel like they are falling short. Whether it's writing the perfect report at work, being the perfect partner in a relationship, or maintaining a spotless home, the pressure to live up to an ideal image can be overwhelming. When INFJs inevitably fall short of these unrealistic expectations, as all humans do, they are quick to internalize the failure and blame themselves, reinforcing the belief that they are not good enough. INFJs are prone to comparing themselves to others, particularly those they admire or view as more successful. This can exacerbate feelings of inadequacy. In today's social media-driven world, where people often present curated versions of their lives, it's easy for INFJs to feel like everyone else is accomplishing more, living better, or finding deeper happiness. They may think, if they can do it, why can't I? This comparison trap can lead them to undervalue their own accomplishments and unique qualities. In relationships, this thought often surfaces in the form of insecurity and fear of not being enough for their partner. INFJs tend to give deeply in relationships, often putting the needs of their partner above their own. They may worry that they are not loving, supportive, or interesting enough to maintain their partner's interest or affection. This insecurity can lead to feelings of unworthiness and self-blame, especially if the relationship experiences any strain. The constant questioning of their value in the relationship can even lead them to withdraw emotionally, fearing eventual rejection. The "I'm not good enough" thought can also stem from a fear of judgment. INFJs are highly attuned to the opinions and emotions of others, and they often worry about how they are perceived. They may avoid sharing their thoughts, opinions, or talents out of fear that they will be criticized or judged as inadequate. This fear can prevent them from taking risks, whether in their careers, creative pursuits, or personal lives, further reinforcing the belief that they are not capable of achieving what they truly desire. 2. No one really understands me. INFJs crave deep, meaningful connections but often feel misunderstood due to the complexity of their thoughts and emotions. This thought can lead them to withdraw from others or assume that meaningful relationships aren't possible. They may feel like outsiders, even among those they are closest to. While it's true that not everyone will understand you at the same level, it's essential to recognize the value in finding those few individuals who do. Focus on nurturing those deep connections rather than expecting everyone to get you fully. 3. I can't show my true self. INFJs are known to be private individuals who sometimes feel like they have to wear a mask to protect themselves. They might fear that if they reveal their authentic thoughts and feelings, they will be judged, rejected, or misunderstood. Vulnerability is not a weakness. Allowing yourself to be seen and understood is key to building deeper relationships. Start by sharing your thoughts with trusted individuals who have proven to be empathetic and understanding. 4. I have to fix everything for everyone. As natural empaths, INFJs often take on the role of caretaker or counselor for those around them. This can lead to an overwhelming sense of responsibility, where they feel like they must solve everyone's problems, even at the cost of their own mental health. Reframing: it's important to remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Setting healthy boundaries and allowing others to solve their own problems is not selfish, it's necessary for your well-being. 5. I'm too sensitive for this world. INFJs are highly sensitive to their environment and the emotions of others. They can easily become overwhelmed by the negativity, conflict, and chaos of the world around them. This can lead to the belief that they're too sensitive to handle life's harsh realities, making them withdraw even further. Reframing: sensitivity is a strength. While it can feel overwhelming at times, your ability to empathize and understand others is a gift. Learning how to manage and protect your emotional energy can help you navigate the world more effectively. 6. People will leave me if I'm not perfect. One of the deepest fears that INFJs often wrestle with is the belief that they need to be perfect in order to be loved and accepted. The thought, people will leave me if I'm not perfect, can be paralyzing and causes immense pressure on INFJs in both personal and professional relationships. This idea is rooted in their desire for harmony, fear of abandonment, and their perfectionistic tendencies, which often combine to create a sense of inadequacy in social interactions. At the heart of this thought is a fear of rejection. INFJs are often concerned with maintaining deep, meaningful connections with others, and they may believe that any flaw or imperfection on their part will cause those connections to crumble. This fear of abandonment can manifest in the belief that if they don't live up to the expectations they perceive others have of them, those people will ultimately leave. This belief can become particularly strong if INFJs have experienced previous instances of rejection or abandonment. Past experiences, such as broken friendships or failed romantic relationships, can reinforce the idea that their imperfections or vulnerabilities were the reason for the relationship's end. As a result, INFJs may go to great lengths to hide their perceived flaws and avoid conflict, thinking that only by being perfect can they ensure that people stay in their lives. The INFJ's natural tendency toward perfectionism often spills into their relationships, leading them to set incredibly high standards for themselves. They may feel they need to be the perfect friend, partner, or co. 7. I'm a burden to others. INFJs often feel like they are a burden when they need help or support. Their empathetic nature makes them hyper-aware of other people's needs, and they worry that their own problems are too much for others to handle. As a result, they may avoid asking for help even when they need it the most. Asking for help does not make you a burden. In fact, it deepens connections and shows strength. Your loved ones want to support you just as you support them, and it's okay to lean on others. 8. I'm always failing at living up to my ideal self. INFJs have a strong vision of who they want to be, but this idealized version of themselves can feel unattainable. They may constantly feel like they are falling short, which leads to frustration, self-criticism, and even depression. Growth is a journey, not a destination. Instead of focusing on the gap between where you are and where you want to be, celebrate the small steps that bring you closer to your ideal self. 9. I'll never find someone who loves me for who I am. INFJs can be skeptical of romantic relationships because of their high standards and fear of being misunderstood. They may believe that they will never find someone who truly understands and loves them for who they are, leading to loneliness and isolation. Love is possible, and meaningful connections can be built. While it may take time to find someone who truly understands you, it's important to remain open to love and connection rather than closing yourself off out of fear. 10. If I'm not needed, I'm not valuable. One of the most self-destructive thoughts many INFJs struggle with is the idea that their value is tied directly to how much they are needed by others. The thought, if I'm not needed, I'm not valuable, can lead INFJs down a path of overextending themselves, overcommitting to the needs of others, and neglecting their own well-being. This mindset often stems from their natural desire to be of service, but when left unchecked, it can morph into an unhealthy dependence on external validation through being indispensable. INFJs are known for their deep empathy and caring nature. They have an inherent desire to help and uplift others, which often makes them the go-to person in many relationships, whether personal, professional, or within their community. Being needed by others can give them a sense of purpose and fulfillment. However, this empathy-driven motivation can turn into a self-imposed obligation to always be of service, making them believe that their worth is directly tied to how much they can do for others. In many cases, this manifests as an overwhelming need to fix other people's problems, offer emotional support, or take on responsibilities that aren't theirs. INFJs can become so focused on being there for others that they may neglect their own needs and well-being, mistakenly equating their helpfulness with self-worth. When INFJs tie their value to how much they are needed, they inadvertently place their sense of self-worth in the hands of others. They may seek out opportunities to be needed or indispensable, feeling fulfilled only when others depend on them. This external validation, receiving appreciation, admiration, or gratitude from others, can become a key factor in how they perceive their own worth. However, relying on external validation is a precarious foundation for self-esteem. INFJs may start to feel empty, undervalued, or even anxious when they aren't being actively needed or praised. They might feel purposeless in moments of quiet or when no one is asking for their help. This constant need to be needed can leave them feeling like their value only exists in relation to other people, rather than within themselves. The mindset of needing to be valuable through being needed often pushes INFJs into people-pleasing behavior. They may struggle to say no to others, even when they are overwhelmed or emotionally drained. In their quest to feel useful, INFJs might take on too much, be it at work, in friendships, or within their families, and neglect their own boundaries and self-care. This relentless pursuit of being indispensable can lead to burnout. When INFJs overextend themselves, they deplete their emotional and physical reserves, leading to feelings of exhaustion, resentment, and frustration. Despite their best intentions, they may start to feel like they are being taken for granted or that their efforts are going unrecognized, which only reinforces the destructive belief that their worth is tied to how much they do for others. Another negative consequence of this belief is that INFJs can lose sight of their own identity and personal desires. When they are constantly focused on being there for others, they may neglect to explore their own passions, interests, or goals. The thought, "If I'm not needed, I'm not valuable," can lead them to put their own dreams on hold in favor of supporting the dreams and needs of others. Over time, this can cause an INFJ to feel lost or disconnected from their true self. When they're not fulfilling the needs of others, they might feel purposeless or unimportant, struggling with their sense of identity outside of their roles as helpers or caretakers. This creates a cycle of dependence where they feel valuable only when someone else is benefiting from their presence. This need to be indispensable can also stem from a deeper fear of rejection or abandonment. INFJs may believe that if they aren't constantly proving their worth by helping others, they will no longer be wanted or valued in relationships. The fear that if I'm not useful, people won't want me around can drive them to go above and beyond, even when it's detrimental to their own well-being. In some cases, INFJs may stay in toxic or one-sided relationships because they believe their worth lies in how much they can give. They may fear that if they stop being the fixer or emotional supporter, the other person will lose interest and leave. This fear reinforces the belief that they are only valuable when fulfilling a specific role in someone else's life. 11. I don't deserve to be happy. INFJs can be hard on themselves and may believe that they don't deserve happiness, especially if they feel they've failed in some way. This self-punishing thought can lead to a cycle of negativity and depression. Reframing: everyone deserves happiness, including you. Give yourself permission to seek joy and fulfillment, and remember that self-care is not selfish, it's essential. 12. I have to do everything myself. INFJs tend to believe that they must handle everything on their own, whether it's because they don't want to burden others or because they think no one can do it as well as they can. This mindset can lead to burnout and isolation. Reframing: it's okay to ask for help and delegate tasks. You don't have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. Trusting others to assist you is a sign of strength, not weakness. 13. I don't fit in anywhere. INFJs often feel like they don't belong, even among close friends or family. Their unique perspective on life and deep emotional experiences can make them feel out of place, like they are watching life from the sidelines. You don't have to fit into a mold to belong. Your uniqueness is what makes you special, and there are people out there who will appreciate you for who you are. Focus on finding your tribe, no matter how small it may be. INFJs, with their deep emotional landscapes and complex thought processes, often struggle with self-destructive thoughts. However, these patterns don't have to define their lives. By acknowledging and reframing these thoughts, INFJs can start to live more balanced, fulfilling lives. It's essential to remember that being sensitive, empathetic, and idealistic are strengths, not weaknesses. If you recognize any of these thoughts in yourself, take a moment to reflect on how you can shift your mindset. Small changes in how you perceive yourself and the world around you can make a big difference. Do these thoughts resonate with you, or do you experience different challenges as an INFJ? Share your insights in the comments below. Your story may help someone else. And if you found this helpful, consider sharing it with others who might benefit from understanding the unique struggles of the INFJ mind.